Welcome back to Fight Talk Radio. We are now joined by Phil, Mr. Wonderful Davis. And Phil, before we get to anything, people from the 80s might remember Paul Orndorff, but how exactly did you get your nickname, Mr. Wonderful?
Um, how exactly I got my name, I really don't like to tell, but I will say this, I didn't give that name to myself, if you know what I mean.
Well, most nicknames you can't give to yourself. They have to be earned or someone gives them to you. But Phil, victorious this past weekend, bringing your record to 3-0 at UWC over Terry Collins, a TKO victory. You just talk about the fight and how it went for you?
Getting prepared for the fight, I really didn't know what to expect, and I just kind of walk you through it. I just kind of, settled into a decent shot and got on top and just worked my ground and pound,
Of course. And Phil, one of the things that really impressed me watching the fight was really how strong your base was. And can you just explain how hard it is to get a wrestler with a strong base that like you have off of you when they're mounted? And what kind of advantages does that give you?
I mean, that's, control is everything. And if just being able to, control a guy on the ground gives wrestlers with that kind of a base a good advantage. I know I definitely use that. Once I get to the ground, I like to just set up and just work for good submissions and good punches.
Yeah, speaking with Phil Davis here on Fight Talk Radio and talking about your strong wrestling base, a four-time All-American, national champion at Penn State. Why does your wrestling give you such an advantage compared to other art forms in MMA?
Well, I think it's kind of wrestling gives you the ability to kind of dictate where you let the fight take place. Whether you want it to happen on the ground or whether you want the fight to happen standing. You have a little bit more of control in the entire the fight when you can do that.
Going back to your amateur wrestling career, you actually have a different kind of style. You're more of a ground type wrestler. You really love the top game. Can you just really describe your specific style of wrestling and then how you're able to use it in MMA?
Right. Well, my style in wrestling was a lot of getting takedowns and just outworking guys on the mat, or kind of like a squirrely or a scrambly type style. And I think that's really, really clutch to have in the MMA focus, because it allows you to really take advantage of the best situations. When you get into a flurry or a scramble with somebody, to be able to end up on top that's what counts for a lot.
And Phil, with that great wrestling background, it's a great tool to have in MMA, but you also need to have great striking and jiu-jitsu. How are you doing in filling out the other parts of your game?
Yeah, I've been working a lot on my stand-up actually this whole year. It's definitely been someplace I'm definitely focusing on getting better. It's definitely my stand-up, and for someone with my background, I feel like, once I get my stand-up pretty good, my grappling will be a lot better too,
Absolutely. And Phil, you come from a wrestling-rich state of Pennsylvania. Can you just describe to the casual fan that might not totally understand what Pennsylvania wrestling is like, especially compared to other states?
I mean, Pennsylvania wrestling is like it's like as I like to call it, wrestling headquarters. It's just other states they have good wrestlers, but I think what makes Pennsylvania different is it just has so much more depth. Probably the top 5 or 6 place winners could be state champs in most other states.
And Phil, you're training out of a Lionheart gym in State College, PA, also where you went to college at Penn State. And for those unaware, can you just describe what Lionheart is all about and how it benefits you?
Lionheart is the way we're managed is really awesome. Basically, have a training stipend to train full time and just be a full time fighter.
Now, Lionheart gets a lot of comparisons to Team Takedown, the team that features Jake Rosholt, Johnny Hendricks, Shane Rollins. What makes Lionheart MMA stand out above them?
Those are great guys down there. Those guys. It's a different setting. It's a different mindset. it's just, it's hard to have. I really don't know how to explain why it's different and how it's better, but it's just an environment, they're down in Las Vegas and we're in, Pennsylvania. If Las Vegas isn't for you, then Team Town may not be for you either.
Yeah, I hear you there. A little colder here for half the year though, but we can deal with that. And Phil, what are some of the names that you've been working with at the camp?
I've been working with Mark Fight Sharp Miller. I've been working with a buddy of mine, John Jones. I've been back and forth to Lloyd Irvin's gym in Temple Hills, Maryland. I've done at Alliance, which is Brandon Vera's gym in San Diego. I'm training with the best.
Now, how does training with Brandon Vera and Lloyd Irvin, how has that really added to your game?
Oh, they've both added so much to my game. Brandon Vera just has he's such a great striker, and to be able to just work with somebody like him for a couple weeks, couple months, pick up everything they do just for that long, it's amazing how much they can clean you up.
And Phil, at Lionheart MMA, who are some of the names that we should be looking out for? They'll be making a big splash in MMA sometime soon.
Paul Bradley, my teammate. He's awesome. He's doing right now. He's 10-0. He has a fight this weekend in Philadelphia. He's going to be pretty awesome to keep an eye out for him. And Lou Amazani, another one of my teammates who's up and coming.
Well, one of the new happenings within Pennsylvania is, of course, MMA just getting regulated a couple months ago. Can you just describe truly how big is Pennsylvania regulation?
That's pretty big. I think now that it's legal in Pennsylvania, you'll see a lot more schools jumping up in the Pennsylvania area and a lot more MMA gyms.
And Phil, of course, you are a 4-time All-American at Penn State, national champion at the 197-pound weight class. Are any of the guys that you wrestled in your college career that have been making transitions over to MMA? A guy brings to mind from our own Hofstra University, Chris Weidman. Would you want to ever meet up with these guys in the cage someday?
Some of them, yeah. Why not? But Chris Weidman, he's a tough cookie. I might want to save him.
And with a fight like that, when both of you guys know each other from your college wrestling careers, would the wrestling almost cancel itself out and then you'd have to go on to what you've worked on since you've gone full-time to mixed martial arts?
Probably. I mean, that's typically how I think a lot of fights go between wrestlers and two wrestlers. It's they end up standing up, fighting there. So it should be interesting. I would, I could see myself fighting one of my old wrestling buddies.
And Phil, what's next for you? What's next for Phil Davis, and where do you want to be in the near future? Do you see yourself being in the UFC relatively soon, or do you want to still continue to get experience on the lower level shows?
Getting experience is definitely the best way to go. You don't want to get to the UFC before you're ready, So I think for right now, I'm just going to stay where I'm at and just gain the experience and kind of go from there.
And we saw Ryan Bader, who was a very talented college wrestler, won the Ultimate Fighter Season 8. Would you want to go out for the Ultimate Fighter?
I actually went out for their last casting call out in Seattle, and they liked me. And I don't know if my weight class is going to be on the show or not, but they definitely they said that they like me. So I don't know. Hopefully, maybe next season.
Well, if the Ultimate Fighter does bring in the 205 weight class, we look forward to seeing you there. But before we let you go, Phil, big happening within the wrestling world. Cael Sanderson, the new wrestling coach at Penn State. What are your thoughts on that?
Cael's the man, I mean, there's nothing to say about bad about him. I mean, it's kind of bittersweet because Troy Sunderland got fired, but I'm really thrilled that Cael Sanderson is taking it over,
All right, Phil Davis, Mr. Wonderful, joining us here on Fight Talk Radio. We thank you for the time, and good luck in the future.
Thanks a lot.